What is going on, guys? Your boy Guns here. And yes, as you guys saw in the title, me and Flipper are going to be talking about something that Call of Dragons desperately needs to ensure that we as players have something to look forward to. On top of that, we also are going to be covering this Q&A that we have going on here. So we'll cover the Q&A, and then towards the end, we'll be talking about what we want to see. Okay, as you guys saw, like, we need that roadmap, man. I'm pushing for it, guys. We're pushing for it. And joining me here today is the one and only, my duo, Mr. Fluffy Waffles. How you doing, brother?
Duo, what's up, Gun? Everyone.
Yeah, I
Good
hit up
deal.
Fluffy last minute. Yeah, I'm almost like, man, I need another person um that's as passionate, if not more passionate than me when it comes to Call of Dragons. And that's not many people, bro. So,
Only lately because you've been playing that little arc raiders.
oh yeah, Arc Raiders is consuming my life right now.
Uh,
All right, so let's get into this questionnaire here. So, question says, why did you cancel planned changes to Alliance Siege Bastion exclusion zones? And then let's see, I'm trying not to read this like word for word. So they were saying that in pre-war servers, they're starting new seasons after the update. These changes would expand the size of the area around the Alliance Siege Bastions, and Alliance building construction and city relocation is forbidden by 50%. But they said, however, they felt that this would kind of throw off the balance between attackers and defender. So gradually shifting from defender towards the attacker. And Fluffy, of all people, can touch in on this and kind of tell you guys, like,
I
he
I
tried telling us,
I won.
actually.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
You
go
did.
ahead.
Yep. So before the last season, the season prior, they made this change to the garrison, the immortal garrison, at the end of the season before last season, right? So, and WB and Rage and us, we were all EIS. We were all still fighting till the very last day of season summary. So we were able to have a couple Bastion wars with the new changes, and without the Immortal Garrison, the garrisons were dying way too fast compared to the attacker side, which is the rally just stays up forever. And I noticed the disparity in attacker versus defender pretty early before last season started. I tried to warn everyone in TFS when I had migrated to TFS and just warn them like, hey, this is going to be a problem this season. Garrisons are bastions are no longer something that you can keep alive 100% because of the changes. And sure enough, I was right, and yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah, as they say there, like, as players gradually upgrade their G5 cavalry heroes, the overall balance of rally slash garrison combat may shift further to favor rally attackers. But as we saw, like, I mean, we as an alliance and you specifically did a lot of testing when it comes to like the rally and garrison with Agnar and Freya. And I mean, we saw scenarios where we were putting Mozroks on it because people would swarm it thinking that it wasn't going to punish them, and they would absolutely murder everyone. And then they would stop swarming it, and then when they would stop swarming, then we would send like an auric or something like that. Unfortunately, we didn't have the little cheese puff pet, the bullion beast,
Yeah,
upgraded, because I want to see. I already saw a few people like doing like city rallies, and it looks like it's gonna damn near do like
yeah, it
1.5x the Auric Warhound's damage. It almost looks
yeah.
like.
I agree. The damage is very high, but because it is a swarmable pet, it kind of cancels out because uh, Mubin from BTX last season tried to do a couple rallies with the Boolean Beast, and every time we saw that rally with the Boolean Beast, we just swarmed it down, and it never did any damage to any kind of bastion or city that it got swarmed down. Obviously, you have to have some sort of field control, some sort of field presence in order to be able to successfully swarm down a rally and kill it. So that, obviously, if you have field control, then yeah, you can use that Boolean Beast to just do crazy, crazy damage.
All right, here we go. Question number 2: there aren't enough ways to obtain limited edition legendary decorations for free. Would you add more? So essentially, they're going to be adding a new event called Trove of the Riches, providing another
Mhm.
way to obtain decorations for free by completing quest-to-scope events. I believe those are the in-game events.
Quest,
Yeah, like the one.
quest to scope.
It's the ones that you find in the scout building. If you want, you could take a look at it.
Oh,
I believe those are the quest-to-scope events.
okay, okay.
You're gonna obtain arcane keys, which allow you to open treasure chests. These chests are guaranteed to decoration of random quality. I can tell you guys that as someone who I have like a 32% decoration in KVK1, I felt pretty good until I hit like Scammeron's calves. Then I felt the pain of the counter, but. But that was like the main thing. It was mainly against the Krakens. Against everyone else, it was kind of whatever. And then on my Archer account over in the G3 pool, I'm only at like 5%, and most people in the G3 pool don't have that like crazy amount of decos, and even the people that have like 20% decos, it's not even that bad. But it's good to see that they're putting in more ways to get the decorations for sure.
Yeah, it's good to see that they're doing that. We'll see um, the quantity of how much decorations you can get from these events and chests.
For sure. Question 3 is they're essentially, just to kind of summarize, they're going to bring ways to limit the amount of mana that that officers can give out, because there has been alliances that have been abusing this. There's been officers who take mana for themselves, you name it. So, I mean, how do you feel about this change, Fluffy? Them changing like the amount of mana that you can give out?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on how they change it and how much you can give out. It looks like they're trying to change it to where you can. I'm trying to read this. Is it like a limit per week they were gonna do? Unless
Yeah,
completed
yeah,
play.
yeah.
But
Yep.
like, how would that solve the problem if the officers just keep doing it
It's
on a
just
weekly
gonna, yeah,
basis,
yeah.
right? So like, I don't know. It'll just stop people from, maybe taking something and then leaving the server, like, in a like a quick time frame. But if officers, they can still do that if they wanted to on a weekly basis, just in a smaller amount over a longer period of time. So I don't know how that would solve the problem.
I think it would just make it more of a burden, and if it's more of a burden, it'd make people like want to like less abuse it. But yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't necessarily solve the problem. However, for most alliances, they reward like their top fighters, which for players like me and you, we benefit a lot from, and it definitely helps out in the long run. I mean, you're talking some kingdoms are awarding anywhere from 300 million up to a billion mana to their top players, which that's hundreds of dollars, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 300 million mana is already like
Like
100,
$100.
120. I think it's like 120 in pet coins
Yeah.
if you buy from the Pet Bazaar. But yeah.
All right. Question 4. The effects of new marksman unit skills are unclear. Marksman units do not seem to have had noticeable upgrades and seem to just be as weak as before. So, what they were saying here is that G3 marksman heroes display decent performance, but G4 and G5 heroes still require an upgrade. We'll be focusing on improving the experience of G4 and G5 marksman heroes. More details will be available shortly. Well, I can tell you that I have no problem with the G5 marksman heroes, man. Like Ruby Kalen are absolutely insane. Even my no configuration ones are already performing well. However, Sybil Fulgrim, on the other hand, definitely fall pretty short of the mark to be getting beat by even getting beat by like Nico Kanara at times. So it's good to see that they're definitely bringing those changes there. Question 5, I'll just summarize this one, Fluffy. They're essentially going to be adding the victories to the Tournament of Champions. That way it gives people more incentive to continue
Mm,
trying for those, and it's like more of a flex, which is cool for those
interesting.
players that are
That's
competitive
cool.
in that zone. The other one revolves around question 6, saying that you're essentially gonna they're working on fixing it to where you lose all the rage, which is pretty frustrating. right?
Yeah, I can see that's frustrating, but it also adds a element of skill where, for me, like players like you and I, we usually change targets before the target dies. So
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of dumbs down the combat system for Call of Dragons, but I mean, I can see it as a pro and a con either way. But I guess it yeah, it is a pain point for a lot of players. It seems like.
Yep. Question 7. They're saying that they're going to add improvements of how to obtain mana.
Yes,
Integrated in a
please.
subsequent upgrade. We hope this will improve your gaming experience. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean, dude,
please.
as we saw, listen, even way back in the day, right? As soon as I saw that resource healing was starting to become more and more prevalent with my Rise of Kingdoms background, I'm like, all right, well, whoever's the most active and resource heals the most is gonna win. That's literally what it comes
Right.
down to. Like, you could be extremely active, but if you can't resource heal, like, you're just cooked.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean, this is a win for the community because more mana means more resource, more healing troops, which means more fighting, which means more fun. More, it all snowballs into getting more fighting and more fun for every KVK season. And it's kind of similar to how they already added, like for the major passes, you get that elixir event where you get like is it 2 million a day? I don't know if it's 2 million, but you get like a million or so free elixirs a day for like 5 days. So that really improves extending the a combat for KVKs now in the major passes. So this is also a huge win.
massive, bro. Like, I mean, even now in my G3 KVK, um, as a low spender there, I optimized my account fairly well. You know, I'm 119 million power there, but I have like 3.4 million archers. So ever since they added the elixir and then the elixir store combo, so you got life bloom supplies and life bloom store from the alliance. So a
Mhm.
combination of those two, you're looking at about 1.6 million troops a day that you can
Nice.
get from there, which is absolutely amazing. And overall, it just a better experience overall. I mean, even
Yeah.
with all the decorations, everything coming, we're like, bro, we just want to play the game, man. Like, yeah, sure, there might be some imbalancing with like pay to win stuff, but as long as people are able to play your game, like that's what's up, man. So
That's the
that's
win.
really
Yeah.
cool
Better
that they
player
have there.
experience is definitely a win. So props to the devs for doing that, and hopefully they continue to do that. And yeah.
Absolutely. Question 8. So they were saying that they received a lot of feedback about farms essentially being under 15 million power, still counting towards realm migration score. So they're working on fixing that. Also, this actually leads me to something that I'm sure that you saw, Fluffy. Some alliances are literally
Abusing.
abuse. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I
I
would say
mean,
abusing, but
I mean,
like, actually, yeah, I mean, it is
yeah,
abusing
abusing.
for
It's
sure.
abusing.
I mean,
It's abusing.
they got like armies of farms. Like, before you notice it, there's like 100 destroyers on a tower with
Yep,
straight
abusing it.
wyvern riders. That somehow are instantly coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not gonna call people out, but I mean, we are gonna say how it is, and it doesn't count towards your realm. Like, what is that?
Yeah. 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 I don't agree with that. So I mean, if they're using it to win their season, using their farms to win the season, or help them um, do objectives, then it should count towards your realm migration score. That's my opinion.
Yeah, especially if it's being like actively used for that, because it's like, you know, I mean, I don't blame people for taking advantage of it because it's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
I definitely think it brings some imbalancing for sure, especially for
Yes.
people that are, you know, controlling 50 farms by themselves to destroy the one tower. Like, so, all right. Anyways, this leads us into our next part. We're at about 15 minutes here, so we're at good timing. The roadmap, Fluffy. The
Yeah.
roadmap.
we talked about this internally, just you and I, but most video game companies they have a roadmap, like a 6 month, 1 year, whatever whatever the time frame is, like a roadmap of, and where their game is at now, where they see the game in X amount of time, and it helps get the player base excited and looking forward to new content. And I think that's something that's really missing in Call of Dragons, and that was something we desperately need, and it would really keep the player base excited and looking forward to the future of the game that we all love to play.
Definitely. I don't know if you remember, but what was it? The beginning of year two, they gave us a roadmap. I don't know if you remember. Like it's kind of kind of blur in my memory at this point, but like they at some point gave a roadmap, but I think that they like struggled to meet those things they said that they were gonna do. So maybe that's why like they're feeling a little bit skeptical to put out a roadmap. But I think that as long as there's the transparency, like, hey guys, this is what we're working on. We don't have a set date, but this is coming. I think that's fair. That would kind of help alleviate that like pushback from the community, like putting out a roadmap if you don't have set dates. I think if there's projects that you're like, okay, we could more than likely make it around this date, let's put it on the actual roadmap. But you also could have some like side things to like, we also have this coming, you
Yep,
know?
I agree. Anything is better than nothing because right now we're not getting anything, in my opinion. And even like the communication with the patch notes and all that could be done in a more smooth way, or a better way where we're getting information sooner than just a day before the patch goes live, things like that.
Yeah, because it's like what, like 4 days before the patch goes live, and it's like when I mean we see it all the time, right, Fluffy? As soon as Home Kingdom comes, or you're in a dead KVK, or you're zone locked, that's when people's negative thoughts towards the game start seeping in, because you're just sitting there with nothing to do. But if there's more sneak peeks of what's coming, then you have that to look forward to when you're sitting there doing nothing and potentially thinking about quitting, right? You're like, I'm not really having fun right now, but we have this
Yeah.
coming up, right? So,
Hmm.
and you can
Yeah,
kind of see that going forward.
I agree. Yeah, people are losing interest, and there's no information that helps keep them interested, so they potentially quit, right? So if you can help in a way keep grab player base's attention and interest, and just kind of maintain it as best as you can during the time periods where there's nothing going on. I think that's something that, yeah, Call of Dragons devs need to look into trying to do better of.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of like putting a cherry on top of this conversation, one of the things that I would love to see for Call of Dragons is more ways for casual players to maintain a healthy account. I'm not going to say, oh, you know, casual players should be able to keep up with players that are sacrificing their free time to keep up in these top KVKs. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is like at least to be able to have a solid or decent account even as a casual player, because one of the biggest gaps that Call of Dragons has with other games, like for example Whiteout Survival and some of these other games, is the fact that those games, like, I mean, at least to my understanding, they're not as hardcore. You could, there's so many little events that you can do to, for example, get EOS skills, or get more heads, or get ambers, right, to unlock more like skills like that. So I feel like that's the biggest thing with Call of Dragons, and if they fix that, because think about how many people, Fluffy, you hear say, I'm quitting, I can't keep up anymore. That's like the main thing that you hear.
Hmm.
But what
Yep,
if
they're
those
not.
players
I
could
agree.
keep
They're not.
up?
They're not quitting because they don't like the game. The game is fun. It's one of the best games gameplay wise that I've played, and you've mentioned this as well. You've done a lot of research into other games, and gameplay and game itself, it's one of the best. People aren't quitting because the game is bad. They're quitting because they can't keep up with their accounts.
Yeah. Yep, that's what I'm saying. So like, just say like life's hitting you in the face, right? It happens to everybody. But in the back of your head, you're like, oh, it's fine. You know, like there's a lot of little like side events and stuff that I can do on my own to kind of just keep the upkeep of this account and like, you know, um, just like, I mean, for example, Home Kingdom, right? The crystal store that they added, that's solid.
That's a
That's
W, a big
really
W.
good.
Now
Cause
people
now
can keep up with
exactly.
their healing. They can fight until the very end of the KVK and still be fully healed for the next KVK. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest one is the pets. They can maintain their pets now in Home Kingdom.
Yep. So not even being in a KVK. I know they want to like make sure, like I get it what they're trying to do. They're trying to make sure that people go into the KVK, but at the same time, in the efforts of making it enticing to participate in the KVKs, they're also getting people who just leave the game because of that.
Right.
So it's like
Yep.
a kind of like a double-edged sword. So like I get what they're trying to do by, enticing people to go into the KVKs, but what if someone can no
Yeah.
longer actively participate in KVKs? Now they're just cooked, so that's
Right.
kind of where you kind of gotta find the balance there.
Yep, I agree. And like going into the KVK, the big reward there is you get the ambers. You can only get the ambers in the KVK, whether you you lose or win, you still get ambers to for your account. But if you have a season where you have like a death in the family, IRL hits you in the face, you can stay in Home Kingdom, still work on your pets for your account, but you just wouldn't collect any ambers. So I think that's a good balance already. Um,
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too that we talked about was just like more PvP, right? In terms of like, for
mhm.
example, Battle of the Abyss, right? I mean, we as a community have been asking her for a long time, like that should not count towards your hospital. On top of that, if you're gonna count my units healed, they should give me the units killed as well towards my account, because it's like, I mean, you're working on that. Like it just doesn't make sense how it's for, especially for people like me and you who we care about our KD. We're not
Yeah,
losing sleep over it by any means, right? But like it'd be nice to get our units killed from there as
yeah,
well.
most players do factor in their KD or like at least look at it, you know.
Mm,
So either count it or don't count it. I would say probably just don't count it at all because if you start counting that to the best, I don't know, people could abuse it and try to I don't know because not everyone can go in the best all the time, right?
for sure. All right, Fluffy. With
Or
that
have
being said, you got any finishing touches you want to put onto this? Things we
no
covered in
nothing.
the questions, the roadmap, kind of things that we'd love to see as players going forward. Anything extra?
I heard rumors that in the next patch they were going to quote unquote readjust the spring watering flying units, which are the flying chickens. And I think that readjustment would be just the attack value of the chickens would be more in line with the normal cavalry. I hope that's something that is still on the horizon that's coming. Obviously, it was just a rumor that I heard, but I hope they do that because there's no reason for the flying chickens to be lower in attack value than the normal cavalry, right? So I hope they do change that and readjust it and just fix that imbalance.
Yeah, I bet you would love that with the flying chickens.
Flying units aren't even that good anyway. Like the people that are doing flying chickens are using bursts and ATS and they're using mages as a flying unit just so they can have an extra flying unit. It's not a great march to begin with. Let's be real.
Yeah,
So
they
why nerf the attack? Like it doesn't make sense.
well, people like Mario's ROM.
He's one player out of like hundreds of
He's an
thousands. Come on
example
now.
though of like how OP flying units could be. Like if you're playing like a rat.
But why what's the word I want to use? Why punish a player like that for taking the time to he's microing like a mother effer. Like
Yeah.
why should he be punished for that? For taking his time and effort and using his skill to micro his flying calves like that.
I
Like they're so
agree
cute.
on a buff, but that's where like that $1 million question comes in, right? Because you got to be able to have that distinguishing advantage between the ground calves and the flying calves. Because the flying calves, just their availability of targets of opportunity alone is kind of crazy.
Okay, okay. So here's the thing. So depending on if you have flying units, flying heroes, with your march, it turns your flying unit into ground or flying. So if you deploy your flying
Power drawn
chickens
from ancient
with
magic.
ground heroes, then they should distinguish, call it a ground cav and adjust the attack that way. Then that's another solution.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But all right, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. I got some Battle of Abyss starting here in 40 seconds. But
I got
yeah, for sure. If you guys enjoyed this coverage, I know you guys love the collabs with Fluffy. I'm looking forward to having just more collabs in general on the channel, to be honest, guys. Because I'm kind of bored of being on most of the videos by myself, to be honest. But yeah, make sure if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, you guys hit that sub button, turn on the bell notification, lets you guys know when I go live or drop a new video. Also, make sure you guys check out my boy Fluffy's channel if you haven't already. I'm sure most of you guys have, but if you haven't, check him out. It'll be in the descriptions box under Fluffy Waffles. You guys will see it there. All right, guys, it's your boy Guns and Fluffy. We are out. Peace,
thank you
y'all.
all. Peace.